Well, good morning, Mike.
Buenos dias.
You look very lively and excited. I haven't even had coffee this morning. No coffee for me yet.
Well, it's early for you. I've had several cups of coffee, so I am ready to roll at my office today, getting some work done. But we really wanted to do this on the fly today because we have so much to talk about, guys. There's a lot to cover for us.
A lot.
It's going to be probably a longer episode, so make sure you stick around. We're going to cover some cool stuff. So
it's 7:55 my time, and we've already talked once together and already had a call with somebody else who is interested in a Chasing Cardboard episode that had a ridiculous collection.
That's probably why I'm smiling ear to ear. Because you don't run across that stuff every day. Oh my God, it's going to be great. We can't spoil anything, but
we can't spoil any of that. Let's start with some already spoiled news, and that is TOPPS coming out and saying today that, oops, sorry, the short prints that we promised in the checklist for Julio Rodriguez and Torkelson and Bobby Witt are not in hobby products. I mean, the Twitter world is like crapping all over themselves right now. I've heard chargebacks are happening like basically across every channel, every marketplace. What are your thoughts on that? And I guess clarifying, they only said hobby, which to me is interesting because they purposely left out the retail SKUs and they're going to come back a couple days later, or the short prints are in the retail SKUs. But either way, a huge misstep. What do you think about it?
TOPPS being TOPPS, right? No shock here. I don't think anybody should be surprised that TOPPS is having to. And what did I think they said in their tweet, because they tweeted about this.
Yeah.
Sometime we got to go back to our printers or whatever. It's like, golly, that's just such a huge product for them every year. This is the one they have to hit a home run with every year because it's such a flagship product in our hobby. And to make this kind of mistake is, I don't know. It seems really silly. And Fanatics isn't happy about it, right? They don't like negative press, right?
For sure. Well, and the way they worded it was interesting. It's like, we now understand that the planned bonus short print parallels of 5 rookie subjects were incorrectly not included in the collation of the hobby boxes. The other thing, too, is the first statement they made. Here, I'll tell you what, let me just share my screen so people know what we're looking at. This stood out to me, and these things rub me the wrong way. Hold, please. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So here's TOPPS tweet, right? Highest priority is our customers, blah, blah, blah. As soon as we became aware of the questions regarding the 2022 TOPPS Chrome baseball product, we immediately reached out to the manufacturer to uncover any issues. What annoys me there is that could have been a week ago. That could have been 3 weeks ago. But they didn't let consumers know until today. I feel like when they found out, they should have let consumers know.
And only once people started complaining. Like, do you think if nobody would have said anything, they would be proactively going, hey, we didn't do this right? Yeah. No, of course not.
Well, it's the same thing with Jared Kelenic last year, right? He never popped up. His short print never popped up, but it was he was playing so poorly and the class was so bad. They had no reason to like really be held accountable for it.
Right. It seems like a pattern, right? You're like, what's going on? And talked with the manufacturer again. When did they know? Why didn't they fix it sooner? Why didn't they just, I have so many questions. It looks bad.
Yeah, it is bad. Like this is not just like missing Jared Kelenic. This is missing one of the top rookies in the last 5 years in his short print. People put serious money into this product and are now getting skunked out. And some of the channels they bought through, they're not going to be able to. There's no
recourse.
There's no recourse. Period. It's just such a shame. They cannot like completely ignore the other SKUs. They need to address the other SKUs immediately.
And what would it look like if they are in retail but not in hobby? How does that change the dynamic?
Well, it changed I think it's probably a good thing because people can actually go get that product and find them. But I don't think they are, because there's enough of that retail out there that's been opened, and to not see any on eBay tells me that it's probably not there. But and I think they're struggling with this idea of, holy crap, if it didn't hit retail, we have to deal with the Walmarts, the Targets,
Myers,
the
whatever.
Myers, the Dick's Sporting Goods of the world. That is just a total cluster.
They have to deal with lids, you know.
Oh, yeah, there you go. The one rack they have.
Right.
Yeah. It's so frustrating. And then, on top of that, I sent you a tweet earlier. Some of the images they use, like MJ Melendez, a good rookie for the Royals, has had the same image used for the last 3 products. And his image used this year was the same image used in 2019. It's like, can we put a little work into this, please? Like, this multi-billion-dollar industry, can we put a little work into our products? It's so frustrating.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. Tough
Big
news
sigh.
today. Tough news. Do you think it makes the short prints, the super short prints, more valuable when they come? Or do you think people become less interested in them?
I think it's initially, it's like everything else. They hit, they're super expensive, and then, oh, wait, there's plenty of them. And,
Yeah.
Topps only made 1 million of each card instead of 10 million of each card. So, yeah, it's short printed, but there's, you know what I mean? There'll be an initial craziness, and then it'll die off like everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no excuse for it, but we've talked about this before. These are third-party printers that print the product. And a short print especially is something that's randomly inserted in. So it could have legitimately been an error with the printer, not necessarily Topps planning it. Regardless, it's Topps name stamped on the wrapper.
And they have to have their pulse on every point of production. They have to have their finger on the pulse of that to know what's going on. The idea of just, well, that's all going to get done properly, just feels lazy on their part.
Yep. Completely lazy. I agree. I don't even know if I should say this. I've heard rumors through some channels. We're not breaking any news here. Maybe a better way to ask this. What do you think if a grading company was acquired by Fanatics? What would you think about that?
Natural progression of the Fanatics vision.
Okay. Let's just say like BGS got acquired by Fanatics. Would you
theoretically
hypothetically here, if BGS got acquired by Fanatics, would that be big news in the hobby?
Yes.
How would that affect the channels? And would you be more of a fan of BGS or less of a fan of BGS?
To be determined. I don't like BGS now. So they would have to, obviously, just because it said Fanatics instead of BGS, that wouldn't change my tune. They would have to change a lot of things to make me be a fan of BGS. The slab, the flip, all kinds of stuff that would make me. I do like the fact that they're local. I love local. I'd love to drive over and hand my cards off, but I'm not going to. I would withhold judgment until we would see what that would look like. Would that change?
You Texans love anything created in Texas.
Of course. Everything's better in Texas. Come
on. My answer to that would be, I'm tired of Fanatics owning everything. I don't like conglomerates in industries. I don't think they're necessarily a good thing. So I would be less interested, even more, if that's even possible, I'd be less interested in BGS if they got acquired by Fanatics. We're not saying that at all, but like, there's some rumors floating around there right now.
Well, let me tell you this. It won't matter to PSA or SGC. They're going to keep doing what they do. And I don't think it would take a long time for them to catch up to the presence, at least with PSA, the goodwill that SGC is doing, what they do, the way they do business. They have a lot to, BGS would have a lot to learn and a lot to catch up on. So I don't even think it would matter for years, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you could make a case that CSG or CGC, what's the parent company? CGC?
CGC is the parent.
Yeah, you can make a case that the parent company CGC is basically owned by eBay right now with that contract they have. So it doesn't make me more interested in them knowing that. I feel like now they're being dictated on what moves they can make, and that's never a good thing for a independently graded card.
Yep.
So, Luber. Is Luber out? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that the rumor? Is that the news? What's going? You mentioned it to me before the call.
Yeah, he's I think just now a kind of a consultant, which simply means he's out of the day-to-day operations for Fanatics on the sports card side and is just simply going to keep collecting a paycheck because he's under contract. I mean, that's essentially what I think it is. What I'm more, gosh dang it, I keep knocking over my phone. What I'm interested more in is who they get to replace him, you know? And I've heard a rumor that it's Ty Wilson. So
yeah, the hobby would only be so lucky.
It ain't me. That's for darn sure. But that next person is going to be super critical to the hobby. Yeah. And look, Luber was a hobbyist. Like, that's the one thing I can say about him that I really liked, that he was at Fanatics, because he did love the hobby.
Agreed.
If it's a corporate kind of guy that's all about bottom line, all about numbers and all of that, I'm going to be really tuned out pretty quick, because that's the last thing this hobby needs right now. And you got to understand, this hobby is unique. You got to have an intimate knowledge of it to be successful at building a brand and building a presence in this hobby. Experience matters, you know, all these things. I would love to see him hired from within. There are several people at TOPPS, high up at TOPPS, that I think are pretty great guys. And I'm thinking of one guy in particular. I don't want to say his name because I don't want to put that rumor out there, but you know, I'd love to see him hire from within, but they don't care what I think anyway. But Luber out is not surprising. All of us saw this writing on the wall months ago. Just a matter of time.
Him doing the backyard breaks thing was like, well, that's probably the end of the road for you.
Yeah.
You must know you're out at this point.
Yeah. That wasn't a good look, but I'm not surprised. Are you surprised?
Yeah. I'm not surprised at all. No, I'm not. He didn't have the feel of like the right fit in that organization, just from our very like 30,000 foot point of view.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see why that happened sooner rather than later. Yeah, he's done very well. Josh Luber has done very, very well for himself.
But think about it, a big job you're asking. I mean, it's going to take a very special person to run that and run it well, with all the different moving parts that, like you said, between owning the license, you know, dealing with licensing, manufacturing, printing, grading, authenticating, blah, blah, like, oh my gosh.
It's a lot going on.
There's a lot of spinning plates there. Feels like to be how much would they have to pay you to get you to take that job? Like, what's a number?
That's a very senior executive role. It's probably $5 to $7 million.
Yeah.
With really nice stock incentives.
Yep. I think that's what they're going to have to pay the right person to come do it.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy, but not. You and I know corporate worlds pretty well.
Yeah.
That would be a drop in the bucket for Fanatics, but
exactly.
They would need to do that type of an incentive plan to get the right guy or girl.
Totally agree.
Be a girl too.
That'll be really fun to watch, though, to see over the next few weeks and months what names bubble up as like rumors, and then which one officially gets hired. That'll tell us a lot about what Fanatics is thinking in 2023. So that'll be our first sign.
Everything is gearing up for that, right?
Yeah.
If you look at all the chess pieces that they're putting into place across the board of the hobby, they are positioning themselves to have this massive launch, essentially, right? Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting for sure. Okay, so we're going to touch on something, a Cuba story here in a minute. So let's hold on that for a minute. I
want to talk about baseball.
Okay, let's talk about the AL MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fun debate this year, especially last year was no question Otani did something no one, since Ruth, right? Ruthian effort, as we say, by Otani last year, no question he's the MVP, regardless of what the record of the Angels was. That didn't matter. We saw something very different. All right. Now you have Otani, who's, by the way, hit 34. It's not like he's sucking at these amazing at the plate. He's had a great season, pitching out of his mind. And I know all this. He's on my fantasy baseball team. So I'm following him very closely. And yet Judge is doing something very unique as well. Where do you think who do you think gets the AL MVP? If you were to vote right now, who would you vote for?
Man, it's tough. I think I would have to vote for Otani.
Because
you just mentioned how incredible his season was last year. You could make a case that his season this year is better than last year's in like various categories. He's top 10 in OPS for batting. He is for offense, and he's, I don't know what, top 15 in basically every stat possible in pitching. He leads the league in like 9 strikeout plus games. He's got like 14 of them. The dude is unhittable as a pitcher, and he's a top 10 hitter this year. I don't know what else you can do. Like, that's just an insane, like, I get like Aaron Judge. I think this year might be the only year we have to look at, oh my, the Yankees are really good, and they're really good because of Aaron Judge. And unfortunately, the Angels are really bad again, and that might actually hurt Otani's chances.
If the Angels were in the playoff hunt right now, it would be no question.
Yeah.
I think that does tip the scale. Like, okay, so you would vote for Otani. Do you think Otani wins?
I would vote for Otani. I think Judge wins.
Okay. I would vote for Judge, and I think Judge wins. I think, it's kind of like he got it, Otani got it last year. Judge does have an MVP also. It's not like he doesn't have one already too.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at Judge's WAR, it's like 9 points. Like, it's off the charts.
Yeah.
It is insane. And you can say Judge is more valuable to the Yankees and what they're doing this year than Otani is to the Angels. And if you look at the award, and just think about it that way, who's more valuable to their team? Not who had the best season. That's what I think a lot of people think. It's called the most valuable player award. It's not player of the year or whatever, right? So most valuable player to me is Aaron Judge. And the Yankees would not be anywhere close to the position they are in the standings without Aaron Judge this year. Talk about a guy who's earned a gigantic payday, right?
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, the Yankees are just flat out loaded too.
Yeah, but you say that, and yes, they have a lot of good players. Stanton's been hurt a lot. Garrett Cole's been pitching really well for them. But Judge has put them on another level of good. He's more valuable than Otani is to the Angels. That's my simple,
Yeah,
analysis.
The proof is in the standings. There's no doubt about that. And the WAR is a very fair argument. He's got, I think the current WAR right now for Judge is 10.4, 8.7 for Otani. So, the next closest guy is Goldschmidt at 7. So yeah, they're running away with like the value to the team. I think you can make a case that Otani's more valuable to the league and Judge is more valuable to the Yankees,
Okay.
Because I think what Otani is doing it transcends an MVP award. You're going into like all-time stats, like for players, period, which is what he did last year too. That's what I'm having a hard time getting past. It's like, we have never seen something like this.
The cool thing is, as a Yankees fan is going to feel differently, an Angels fan is going to feel differently than you and I might. If either one of them wins the award, whichever one of them, it's not even if one of those two guys, those two guys is going to win. I'm going to be like, yep, I get it. And if Otani wins, yep, I get it. If Judge wins, yep, I get it. So, but if you're a Yankees fan, you're going to be like, it's Judge all the way. If you're an Angels fan, you're like Otani all the way.
Yeah.
So I get the biases that creep into fandom, but as a just baseball fan, I look at it and go, this is amazing. This is awesome.
Agreed. I am so excited for either one of those guys because both of them are just outstanding for baseball.
Yes.
You couldn't pick better guys to win. It's not like Jose Ramirez won or like Manny Machado won, who's very polarizing. These are two outstanding guys. By the way, we got Pujols chasing 700 right now. Like this, baseball's amazing.
Yeah.
Baseball's amazing.
Some good pennant races coming down, the wild card races and stuff. I think the Padres are sneaky good. And the Dodgers, I would pick the Dodgers to win the World Series today. If you said pick a team, I'm going to pick the Dodgers, but that's kind of an easy pick because they're just so good.
Pretty good.
So it's going to be fun these last few weeks. Oh, and football started. We're multiple weeks into football season, and there's a lot going on, and basketball is going to ramp up here next month, and it's just going to be full on again. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Great
Side note, I'm picking the Cardinals to win.
Oh, nice.
It pains me to say that as a Royals fan.
Right.
But
what a great time to be a sports fan, right? Like, I love this time of year. It's the best.
Me too. Yeah, you're seeing preseason basketball, preseason hockey. I know you watch a lot of that.
I follow the Stars, actually. I love the Stars. I love watching hockey, actually, especially in person. Hockey's the best sport in person to me.
Nothing beats baseball.
Look, baseball's number 2 for me. Probably football and then basketball. Although I love all the sports. Like it's 1A, 1B.
Can I ask you to be very real here for a second, Mike? Yes. So you've been working on. We have an episode coming up. I think it'll be episode 12, where we can sign a very nice vintage collection. We mentioned it last week in our On the Fly. You mentioned it in some of your baseball collector videos. You've been working on this consignment deal, selling to people, working this is the first time in a while you've really just had to put yourself in to a seller's shoes 100%. Are you ready to go full-time in the sports cards?
That would be a hard pass. I mean, it's a lot, guys like you and
Bo
Bo and JT, guys that sell cards full time. My respect level for you has gone up, and it's not even it's people will email you, yeah, I want these cards. You go through the process and however long it takes to pull them all, and then it's like, well, no, I don't need them, or this or that, and then you're like, dang it, there's a lot of annoying parts of this process that really, and for me, what it's taking away from me is, look, like everybody else, we all not only have dollar budgets, but we also have time budgets, right? We all only have 24 hours in a day. I have a lot of other things I do, and my hobby time is valuable time to me. It's fun time for me. And parts of this that aren't fun make me, I can't do the fun stuff in the hobby that I like to do because, I have other obligations with my time. So
yeah,
it's like, dang it, not my gig.
Yeah.
But I still love cards.
So for me, full-time into sports cards has actually helped me enjoy cards, helped me love cards more. And I think because what it did is it pushed me into really focusing on what I like, not just focusing on everything, basically focusing on nothing because I'm trying to focus on everything. For you, it's the complete opposite. You already know what you like to focus on, and it's a lot of stuff. But when you got overwhelmed with things in the hobby, you're like, well, crap. Now I've lost focus on what I actually enjoy.
Honestly, the worst part of it is this guy had some amazing stuff that I would love to add to my collection, right? Like he had all these sets that ultimately I want to build all the top sets, all the way back.
Yeah.
Well, I could have gotten a gigantic jump start with this, cards in really great shape, and the ones that aren't are, that's okay with me, building a set and all this stuff. And I'm sitting here going, I can't just drop the amount of money it would take to just buy them myself. And I'm having to send these cards out that ultimately I'm going to get back in my collection someday, hopefully. It's like this weird, like, carousel. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell these cards that I want. And, you know, we can't, our job is as consigners is to get the max value we can for our client, right? Whatever kind of thing. And that means me not buying them because I'm not I try to bargain everything. I would, if a guy had a card for $2, I'm going to ask for $1 off, so I totally am not the guy to buy all this stuff. And yet I want all this stuff. That's the heart. I'm like shipping these cards out. Well, that'll be back here someday, another version of that card. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's this weird dynamic that I don't like, honestly. I just want to buy them all, and you can't have everything. That's sad. Yeah. True.
I'd be curious to know in the comments which one of you or who of you has, as a collector, kind of delved into selling cards and had a similar reaction to Mike's, where you're like, this is not for me. I can't do this stuff. Because in the chasing cardboard world, we see a lot of people who would love to sell cards, but have zero desire to do it because first off, they're emotionally attached to the cards. And second, they don't want to learn how to do it. And third, it's really hard to do. Like there's all these components that come in, and it's not for everybody. That's for sure.
Yep.
You're going on a trip, man.
I am going on a trip.
What's going on? You've brainstormed some ideas about taking cards overseas.
Yeah. So I don't want to tell the exact time I'm leaving, but sometime between now and the end of the year, I'm going to Cuba again. This will be the 4th time that I've gone to Cuba on a mission trip. It is amazing down there. The people are awesome. But Cuba, I haven't been since I literally got back from Cuba the last time in February of 2020. 2 weeks later, the world shut down, and Cuba got hit incredibly hard because a large part of their economy is tourism, and that halted. So the country it's been hit really hard economically, and that obviously hits the poorest of the poor the most. And those are areas that we go to and we minister to. And I'm excited to see old friends that I've made friends with down there. And what I thought would be cool this time is taking cards, because Cuba is baseball crazy. They're soccer crazy and baseball crazy. They love baseball. And there's a lot of major leaguers now and in the past that have been from Cuba. And what I think would be cool is somehow if I could get people to donate cards of Cuban players that I could take down there and use that as an opportunity to give to kids and young men and stuff. And just most of them have probably never even seen a baseball card. They probably don't even know that they exist. And to maybe do that, I think would be something unique and special as a window. Because one of the big things about ministry is trying to create common ground with people so that you have an opportunity to tell them why Jesus is so awesome, right? And that would be a common, talking about baseball and showing them cards of Aroldis Chapman or Yasiel Puig even, or,
Cespedes,
Bobby Abreu. Yep. Canseco, Palmeiro. I have Tony Perez, Hall of Famers from Cuba.
Minoso, right?
Minoso's from Cuba. Yep. Even Adolis Garcia this year for the Rangers. Just these guys. Jorge Soler is from Cuba. So there's a lot of guys that are from Cuba. I don't know. What do you think? Cool idea? Bad idea?
I think it's a great idea. I think it'd be cool if we could if you have some of those commons of those players and you'd be willing to send to you, right? And kind of, let's build a collection of cards to just take down and just give to kids to give to kids in Cuba. I think it'd be a really neat thing to do. Just kind of spreading the joy of the hobby to those kids and just explaining them, like, these are guys that play in the majors. You might know that. Here's their stats. They're representing your country. Like, we root for them in America. Like, it's just a cool thing.
Yeah, I think it could be a connection that's unique and something I've never done before. And I travel all over Latin America, going to different places to do ministry. And Like I went to Ecuador earlier this year, and anyway, I'm going. We would need these relatively soon, although it's not tomorrow or anything. If that's something you feel compelled to do or feel led to do, what's probably the easiest way to do that, Ty?
Maybe shoot you an email and just yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes with your email address. Is that cool with you?
Yep.
Yeah, email Mike if you're interested in sending some of those comments that you have sitting around, or
yeah, don't send me.
They don't have to be comments, but
and I'm serious. Don't send me like really high dollar cards or colored parallels and all that stuff, because the truth is they can't get any value out of it. It's more just for the joy of it. So literally just commons and Ginters or maybe different sets or whatever, but don't send me anything expensive. I do not need. That's not what this is about, because they won't understand the value and they won't care about the value, which is great. The hobby is going to be the childlike feeling towards the hobby is what we're going to see manifest itself here. And so seriously, nothing expensive. I don't need autographs or any of that stuff. Just send me base cards.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. I just picture you with like 5 or 6 suitcases that you're checking in because you got so many cards, and Julie's like, gotta be kidding me. I can't escape these cards even on a missions trip.
Well, Julie's not going, just me.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So she doesn't have to worry about that. But I'm not gonna be able to take tons and tons, but I'd like to take some, right, and see what that does for these kids. It'd be fun to see. And I will film, by the way. I'm going to be filming a lot of this, and it may be part of a segment of a Chasing Cardboard episode, or its own little standalone shorter episode of how the hobby is really worldwide and what it can do. And so I'm going to be filming it too. So your cards aren't just going into the dark abyss, never to be seen again. I would be showing off, giving them away and stuff like that. That'll be a fun part for me too. So that's that.
I like it. I was trying to show my screen because I had a vision of what you were going to look like, and I can't, unfortunately.
Oh, bummer. You can't make fun of me again. That's all right. That's a shame.
Oh, trust me, I will find ways to make fun of you.
Dude, you've got to be happy that I wore a hat today in the office, because normally I'm blinding you with my bald head.
Very true. And here's the picture of Mike at the airport in Cuba.
With cardboard, filled with. And the Cuban government is like, what are you bringing in? Like 4 cards? And they're like, what are you talking about?
American Airlines is like, all right, that'll be $17,000 for your extra luggage and extra plane we needed for you.
Right? Oh my gosh, don't do that.
Yeah. But to your point, thank you for wearing a hat. I am tired of having to wear sunglasses.
I know. It's not a good look for you or me. So you're welcome.
Heck yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, it's been good. Wasn't it 34 minutes? That's good. We were very efficient today.
I think so. We tried not to, we tried to cover a lot. We had a lot to cover, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. Let us know what you think down below, and we'll catch you guys all soon.
All right. See ya.